It's my feel-good breakfast show.
A very good morning, happy Monday, and welcome back to the show. Now it's time for our Monday Tech Talk, if you will, with our expert Bryan Smith. And today we're looking at 3 tech innovations that ended up a complete flop. Can't wait to hear what you brought with you, Bryan, but always good to see you. We start off first with something that you and I were kind of arguing. It wasn't really a flop, wasn't really a flop. But anyway, Google Glasses. What exactly went wrong there? Because we were anticipating that somewhere in the future we would all be using Google Glasses, right?
Definitely. So Google Glasses, I think, captured everyone's imagination and then just never made it to store shelves.
Yeah.
And this kind of technology we might see in the future, but this idea in itself definitely flopped, and I don't think Google will ever live this down. The chief problem behind Google Glass really is that it failed to convince consumers that there was an actual need for this product.
Yes.
Chiefly, it arrived at a time where smartphone screens were getting bigger, we were spending more time on mobile devices, and really there weren't enough augmented reality experiences, apps, services to convince people that this kind of gadget would really play a role in their lives.
Exactly.
Like I say, we might see this idea transition to a different project in the future, but definitely this was an idea that went nowhere.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at another one. At some point, DVDs were a massive thing, and then out came HD DVD players and Blu-ray players, and that never really caught on.
Definitely, and there's actually a really interesting parallel here between VHS and Betamax, if you remember those from the 1980s and 1990s. And chiefly, HD DVD enjoyed its time in the sun for a very brief while.
Yeah.
But the reason Blu-ray took over and then streaming is that HD DVD was quite ill-timed in the sense that a lot of major film studios adopted Blu-ray as their format. Some specific film studios adopted Blu-ray from the outset, which ultimately proved not fruitful at all to HD DVD, and chiefly the arrival of streaming platforms just totally usurped the role HD DVD might have had.
Yeah, I still have some Blu-ray DVDs at home. Never ever
Gathering
put
some
them
dust
in any machine and never used them. Like, I feel so silly. But let's talk about social media. There was a time when MySpace was all the rage, and now, I mean, even just looking at the setup of this, it's just like,
brings back some memories.
What were we doing? But anyway, MySpace being one of the flops you were talking about.
Definitely. So MySpace, as we all know, was sort of cannibalized by Facebook, and chiefly MySpace couldn't do what we call in the tech world shipping products, so bringing new features to market and also retaining its users. Ultimately, Facebook came along, and that's something Facebook typically does quite well.
Yeah.
MySpace just couldn't make the transition from being a website to joining mobile devices, building apps, and really that's why we all sort of pivoted to Facebook, and MySpace now just sits on the internet sort of as the dinosaur of a bygone era.
Could they come back, do you think?
Possibly. Very interesting. It still attracts 50 million users per month in the United States. So there's definitely, perhaps it's a bit like a museum exhibition, but there's potential. Anything can happen.
It's like a lot of people on Twitter always ask, like, what are people doing on Facebook? Like, what is there to be done there? But anyway, let's talk about the future and what you think might be a possible flop in times to come.
Definitely. I think the easiest target perhaps is tablets. And I say that because there are 2 innovations that might well replace the need for them in our daily lives. The first is foldable smartphones that could transition to be a tablet and then close again to fit in our pocket, and that kind of obviates the need to carry around a tablet in the first instance.
Yeah?
The second is something we see play out in markets in the United States, is the fact that entry-level laptops such as Chromebooks have proved really popular in education markets, and that's kind of usurped the role tablets might have played. Tablets might be the genesis of ideas that we see in future, specifically with touch technology, but I don't really feel we'll be seeing this for very long in the market space as we've come to know it up until now.
Wow, Bryan, you're so harsh. You're hurting my tablet's feelings, eh?
Hold it close.
You just nearly fragged it. Do people even use that word anymore?
You can visit MySpace.
Thank you so much, man. Always appreciate your time and expertise here. And that's all we have for you for this Monday's Tech Talk. And if you'd like more information on the world of technology, you can visit our website, expressoshow.com.